Okay, it's recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tism Talks. Bro, wait, no, what? What are you supposed to? From who? Okay, take the call. Just give the intro. Okay, so I'm here with my roommate today, and I want to like disclose some things. So the big question is, Arnav, why are you doing this? So you see, yesterday I posted a couple polls on my story, and all those polls were about like literally like based on real people that I actually like knew. And that made me start to realize I know some like insane people. And like if I could just get some of these people on a podcast, like it would definitely like result in like wealth, power, and success, which like, like every man like wants. Anyway, the second thing, why the name Tism Talks? Well, like honestly, I just thought it was a funny name, and I kind of felt like because I came up with that, like I have to have a podcast, like I kind of have to see it through. And also, I think it just like goes with a running joke that like, haha, Arnav has fucking autism, which like the Tism twins, yeah, my roommate, yeah, we're called the Tism twins by our friends. Anywho, um, just a couple things I want to preface before we actually start getting into this is one, I don't actually have autism because okay, no, that's my roommate. I actually talked to a like psychologist because everybody was like, you have autism, and like she actually like specializes in like saying if people have autism, and like the psychologist is like, nah, you're good, like you don't. People are just okay. So I'm back. Basically, my roommate had to go to poker, and yeah, I guess it's just gonna be self yapping. I'm just basically like doing an Emma Chamberlain impression, which like for the women watching this, what this guy knows like ball like that? Yeah, I do know ball like that. I'm literally just pacing in my room. Yeah, here's a fun fact. I actually like genuinely enjoy like a bunch of like girly things. Like I watched like Mean Girls like by myself. Like I didn't even have a girlfriend. I was just like, oh, let's see what this film is about. And I was like, it's a banger. I remember. So like a little fun fact about me, I'm a math nerd. I remember like when I saw the problem, I was like, I don't understand it. Why does the limit not exist? But now that I'm actually like a fucking like high school, like now that I'm fucking like a fourth year math student, I'm like, oh wait, that's very trivial. Oh, so this is something random. This is something I've noticed too. A lot of my language and how I speak has changed a lot since I've started doing math. Like in a way, like before, like this is like I say this all the time. There exists a solution. There exists because whenever you're writing a proof, you use like very specific language. There exists for all, and I've started bringing that more into like my speech. There's one thing I want to add, but I don't feel like I'm math pilled enough. But it's like without loss of generality. What are things I've been thinking about a lot? I guess so. Okay, here's the thing. I love my job. Like I'm working my dream job, like the perfect job for me based on my personality and on my ambitions and everything I worked on. But in a way, it's like it's kind of weird because like I'm sort of in like a management position, even though I'm not currently managing people. I'm going to be, and like I sometimes feel like different compared to my peers because like my priorities and roles in my job are not like what like a typical new grad would have to do. But on the other hand, it's like I'm still like I was talking to ChatGPT about this. I'm still emotionally like a 23-year-old. Like I still like care and value like all the same things that my peers do. And I don't know, it's like a weird kind of dissonance where like I have all this like responsibility and all these tasks, but I'm still like, oh, like I hope this girl texts me back, or oh, I hope they invite me to like this fucking like event and some shit like that. And I don't know, like I don't even know why I'm yapping about this because like I've literally gotten everything I've wanted, but it's something I think about a lot. And I there's this it's like a logical fallacy. You've missed the mark, my great Scotsman, where essentially it's like whenever you see a goal or you have something and like you reach it, you kind of like shift the goalpost. And I think I'm the CEO of doing that. Like whenever something happens, I'm like, oh well, what's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing after that? And it's had such good results for like my career and like my life and all of that. But on the other hand, it's like it makes it hard to enjoy things because like I don't really feel like I see the win. I see like the next position, and I'm really trying to practice gratitude. If that makes sense, and it's so cringe to say. Like I'm really trying to be grateful for like all the things in like my life, and it should be easy because like I live such a great life, but it's weird. I think it's because maybe I live in like the first person where like this is my life. I take it for granted, And yeah, I'm really trying to do that. What else? I keep reading articles nowadays about how Gen Z is having less sex than like any generation before. And like I keep reading that, and I remember I used to have discussions where it's like, oh, girls in our generation are like they're such hoes. But then like I wasn't the one saying that, but like that was like the topic of the discussion. But now I look and I'm like, huh, are they? Like if people are having like less sex than ever, like I imagine like that just kind of goes against that whole ideology. How I think it can be explained the best is we're more sexually open now than we've ever been historically. So people are more like verbal about like the sexual acts that they do, but like it's not actually like sort of like happening in practice. Like it's sort of this idea where like the outliers like in the distribution are more like crazy, but like the median, like the average person actually is not. And that actually brings me to another thing I've been thinking a lot. What is the average person? And like I state this because I feel like I'm so removed from it that it just kind of creates this, I don't even know how to explain it. So like okay, like I'm diagnosed with ADHD. And like as a result, like I am like my brain is structurally different than most people. It's that whole idea of like neurodivergence. Like I process the world in a different way. But I feel so like removed and I don't really understand like how does like an average like this average person like go about their day? Like what is actually like happening in their life? And like how do they process things? Like how are these like I guess the way I see the world, how does it differ? And then it sort of begs the next question where it's like, is there an average person? Is this a real thing? I sort of like am trying to like kind of create this like character template of what is the like actual average person? What is he, she, they, them, whatever like they want to go by? What do they look like? And I'm sort of thinking about this idea of like conforming, where like let's say you have a big group and you want to conform to like the needs, desires, and like I guess behaviors of the big group. So I guess there's like a whole idea of societal conformity where it's like we follow like the laws, and that's like the baseline. Like oh, you don't like break the laws, otherwise you're gonna go to jail. But then there's like also like group based dynamics, and I think this is very interesting because even with the law, there are some laws that are like kind of stupid. I can't honestly like name one off the top of my head. I remember there's something in England with like the salmon. It's like just like a very like stupid law. I it's one of those laws that just exists. But there's some like illogical. No, is illogicality the right word? Let's just say there's some laws that are just like, wait, bro, like why is this there? This is funny as fuck. But on the other hand, like let's take that. There are laws that aren't, I guess, perfectly rational. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And then like you take that to the group dynamics, and like sometimes like that kind of like exists in groups itself. Like there's behaviors that groups kind of like portray and display, which isn't logical, but like we do it because like it's fun. And I think the best example of this is like modern substance abuse culture. Because it's like, look, okay, think about it from like a logical standpoint. Drinking is like a net negative in every way. Yet like literally like almost everybody in like North America does it. I like fully acknowledge like, oh, this is like a stupid thing. Like I feel worse. It's bad for like my health. It makes me like stupider, but like I still do it. And yeah, I took a little bit of time off drinking and like off doing everything for like around like 7 months. And like during that time, like the big argument is, oh, well, socially it helps me. Socially it helps me. But like, that's actually like, the thing I've actually read this in research is drinking doesn't necessarily like help you be better in social situations. It more so like makes you perceive that like you are better in social situations. And the reason I bring this up is like when I was like sober and I was going to events, even when I didn't know people, like I distinctly remember like when I would speak to them, they'd be like, oh, you're so smart, you're so funny. And it's like, it's so much easier to be like the most not even the most impressive, like the best socially when everybody else is impaired and you're sober. But it also creates like a, I guess sort of like a dissonance where you can't relate to them because they're all having this experience and you're out here just like, oh, like fuck, I'm sober. I want to be like, I want to be fucked up, but I can't for various reasons. And yeah, going back to it, like I feel like when people work in groups, they're simultaneously dumber and smarter. Like it's like your inherent illogical behavior gets called out by the group, but like you also like kind of participate in like group activities that are illogical. And now you're probably asking, Arnav, why do you bring this up? What's this whole group thing? And this is something like I truly feel has happened my entire life. And this isn't to say that like I don't make illogical mistakes. I feel like a lot of times when I'm in a group, my behavior that's illogical and irrational gets called out, and people are like, "Oh, you're so autistic. You're so this. You're so that." But then on the other hand, like other people, like when they do illogical and irrational stuff, it doesn't get called out. And sometimes I feel like if I bring it up, then I'm suddenly the bad guy. And I this sort of relates because like it's kind of this thing of like, how do we determine what is like acceptable in a group situation? Like it's one of those passive things that like people just know. But I don't know. I kind of wonder is like again, like would it help people if it was like actually written out? Would like what if like you actually just like wrote it out and then you looked at it back and you're like, wait, this is like irrational and whatnot. And yeah, okay, that's my whole tangent on group dynamics. But I think this sort of underpins like a whole aspect and like perspective I'm trying with my life and something I really try to do. As I've said earlier, I'm a math nerd, and like this whole idea of optimization and like what is like the optimal outcome, what is the best case, and like how do you like choose a path that like is the most rational and best, is like that's like kind of my area of like I really am interested in that, like nonlinear optimization. And I spend a lot of time kind of like thinking and looking at my life and being like, what is the most like efficient and optimal path? And sometimes I'm gonna be so honest, like sometimes I like genuinely wonder, like, what if I like had like, okay, so a little like me being a bit of an AI nerd. How AI works is that it essentially like tries and predicts, like big LLMs, what the next word you're gonna say, like given the prompt you put in, like what you input it, like how you continue this conversation, and it does really well at that. But I kind of like wonder, like let's say like I'm on a date with somebody, like what like if I like you kind of use the ChatGPT method of like how do I keep this person like talking and going and like kind of continuing that conversation versus like diverging based on like my own thought pattern. And like this is something I struggle with so much because my brain is like always going off. Like I always have like a billion different ideas. And it's great when I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, when I'm trying to like come up with content things. But like with relationships, I find it hard sometimes to be the listener. And I really want to work on that. And I think my job is helping a lot. So for the first 3 weeks, I keep talking about this job I love, but I don't actually go into detail about it. For the first 3 weeks, all I've really been doing is listening. Just kind of, like listening to different like nursing homes and their problems and not really like going in and being like, well, what about this? Have you heard of this idea? And it's been good for that. And it's something I really struggle with because in a conversation, there's I want to say like the engager and the engagee. Is that the right word? I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is there's the person who is leading the conversation and the person who's like getting led. And I'm great at being the person that leads, but I'm not so great at being the one that gets led. And I feel like this is the paradox where I'll go on a date and I'll be the one who's leading, but like let's say the person I'm with wants to be the leader instead of the one being led, and it's just like it isn't the best fit. And I sometimes wonder like, had I been the one who had been like the one that's getting led versus the leader, would I've gotten a second date? And the reason I kind of bring this up is like sort of this idea, well, you must be thinking as the listener, well, if you already had that like dynamic that it didn't work out, maybe, like what's the point? Like, it wouldn't have worked out anyway. But then I kind of wonder, like, what if it's like between two people, there's like a dynamic. There's that like rule of like, I guess there's rules. And it's sort of like, let's say you didn't have like that first date like went well and you had a second date and like eventually like you could develop that like sort of group and like those dynamics between two people. Would it have led to something more then? Would there have been more to come out of it had I gone on the other day? Could we have found like sort of an equilibrium where we both like kind of where we converge and like that kind of leads to a relationship? And yeah, I don't know, like I think about relationships all the time because like it's so fascinating how like I don't know if dependent is the right word, but like I hate the fact that I care. And I do care. Like I dislike that. I wish like I could just be this robot that like didn't care about like emotions and feelings and wanted to be loved and like all of these things and just like focused on the grind, the work. Like that's the thing. But like I do care. And how I've reconciled it is in two parts. The first being like why it's useful, why I need that, where it's like the creative part, the part that like, like the part that gives me my creative ability comes from feelings and emotion. So like if I was to cut that off entirely, I would sort of be like taking away like the thing that actually like really helps propel me forward. And the second part is that like I don't even know where I'm going with this. This is just me like off the top of my head. I feel like the part that makes me sort of human, like which everybody and why society is like adapted and evolved and gotten to the point where it is because we do care. People do care. Like you're weird if you don't like, want to be loved. You're weird if you don't want friends. Like the weird guy isn't the person who's like, fuck, like I want to change so like more people like me and I have more friends and like more social relationships. The weird person is the guy who's like, fuck this. I'm just going to be alone in my room on my computer and not doing anything. And I'm really trying to like reconcile with that. And like, okay, this is like so bad and I don't even know. I wonder if people are even going to listen this far. I wonder who, like, sorry, like, tangent before I get to my point. But I kind of wonder, like, you, the listener, if you've actually made it this far, like, what are your thoughts? Like, well, why are you listening so much? Like, are you actually interested in the things I have to say? Or are you just bored and you're like, haha, like, maybe there'll be, like, good jokes that come out of this? And I don't judge you for that, because me and my friends do that all the time. Everybody does. Like, when somebody just does something, like, stupid, it's like, haha, that's humor. Like, yeah, me and my roommate have this, like, running joke that we keep going on about this guy. And, like, it's not worth divulging into. But, yeah, no, it's sort of like, if you've seen The Boys, it's kind of like Homelander's, like, whole paradox. And it's this thing where, like, he's literally, like, kind of a god. But, like, he cares about people and he's dependent on, like, their emotions. And I think that is relatable in a sense. Not to say that I'm a god, where that would be awesome, but I don't think I am. But just, like, this whole idea of like, I care what people think and I want to be loved. And it's not a bad thing, but it's like, I think the idea is that you need to find like a person who like helps satisfy your validation, but without like kind of turning it into like a pit. Like where you're like just chasing it, like there's like a healthy level where you like want to be loved like in a non-superficial way. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. And also like, sorry, I just thought about this. Like going back to the point, who are, like, to re-answer it, who are people that are actually going to, like, maybe listen to it? Maybe girls I'm talking to. I don't know if it's a good idea to, like, mention this or even have, I guess a thing where, like, you just listen to all my thoughts and opinions. But I guess that would kind of be the person who'd be interested enough to actually, like, listen to me speak about, like, the random things that are going on in my life and all the aspects that I'm just thinking about. Yeah, it would probably be a girl I'm talking to. So, like, hi, girl I'm talking to. I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts? Does this change how you perceive me? Like, yeah, actually, the big question is, like, why are you, like, what is it specifically about me that you like? So, I think people that like, went to high school, middle school know this about me, but, like, I grew up, like, I was, like, overweight in, like, middle school. And, like, and I didn't get girls in, like, high school either. So, like, I kind of have this, like, internal thing whenever, like, somebody likes me, where I'm like, wait, well, why? Like, why, like, why do you like me? And I'm just, like, it's, okay, well, I guess one is, I guess, the insecurity that, like, I grew up with. But the other part of it is, like, I am just curious. Like, what is it specifically that you, like about me? Because I read this one, like, a psychology article where it's, like, looks get you, like, essentially, like, the summarization is this. Looks get you, like, in the door. Like, it lets the door open. But, like, what helps you, like, walk through is your personality. And I wonder that all the time. I'm like, like, what is it specifically about my personality that you like and dislike? And, like, why? And, like, it's sort of this thing of, like, let's say I like every single person, like, I've ever talked to or, like, was interested in me. I sort of, like, put them all together and, like, they listed all the qualities and characteristics that they liked/disliked about me. I kind of wonder, like, what would be like the very common, like, we all dislike this, and what's like situational? Like, what, like, I kind of wonder, like, what's my most like variable quality? Like something some people like, but some people dislike, you know? My best friend has this saying where it's like your best quality is also your worst one. And I feel like that's very true. I think maybe that would be the variable one. What else can I talk about? I have so much I can yap about, but I just had this like, I worked out like really hard today. Like I think I burnt like 1,000 calories. Like I did like a 30-minute run, like five different like bicep and back exercise, and I walked like both back and from work, and like I live around like what, like a 40-minute walk away from. No, sorry, I only walked back from work. I live like a 40-minute way. So I just did a bunch of exercise today, and I'm like I just had that, you know, that like feeling where your brain is like, ooh, I'm tired now. The exercise hit. That's something people don't know. Like I actually try to exercise like a lot. Like almost 4 summers ago, I kind of like got down to like 16% body fat. Right now I'm at like around like 23, 22. Trying to get back to that 16, but it's fucking hard, man. It's so hard. Like genuinely, like I always look back and I'm like, when I did that, that was cringe. But now, like I've kind of been looking back and I was like, huh, like this guy had that one skill or ability. Like this version of myself had this one skill and ability, and like I want to like re-get that. And I think that's like something I've been doing, because like I'm so used to being like, oh, that was so cringe. Why would I do that? Like, why did I do this? And sorry, this kind of this isn't related, but I have a gift. I have this ability to say the exact wrong thing at the wrong moment. And I don't know how I do it so consistently. How I do it like literally every single time. Like without fail. Like I have this actual ability where it's like, oh, like, hey, you're with this person. Like, what is the wrong thing, the worst thing you could say right now? Like, I'm sort of the anti-ChatGPT. ChatGPT is like, oh, what's the ideal thing to say? I'm like, what is the dumbest thing you could possibly say right now? Like, I know for a fact, like, people are like, oh, this guy, like, this is, I should probably, I don't know, fuck it, I'm gonna say this. This is like something, and I've actually had this confirmed, where people, like, where a girl, like, I was talking to was like, yeah, I was gonna sleep with him, but then he said that, and like, I just keep doing it so many times, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I physically, I'm a smart guy. That's the part that burdens me. I am like objectively an intelligent human being. Like I have good points. Like I'm well read. I'm well educated. Like I have the ability to focus. But like I don't know why. Like why do I do this? I think it in turn might have to do with my sense of humor, where a lot of my joke, like again, like I've seen this thing where jokes are defined as taking like social risks, and how well they land depends on how well you understand your audience. And I feel like partially it is like I try to make jokes. I think I'm a funny guy, given that people laugh and they say I'm funny, but I don't know. I think I'm pretty funny. But anyway, I think it's because I'm so used to doing that, making jokes, that I take social risks and sometimes they don't land. Or maybe my brain is associated with, what's this social risk I could take? But then like on a personal like conversation level, I can't calibrate it very well. I don't know. I never actually thought about this before until I started talking about it. I don't know if I've even been making jokes on this. Oh, this kind of is in tangent. So I've noticed the more competent and smart I get, I kind of find it harder to relate with the average person. And I've sort of talked about this before. Like it's like I guess the thesis of what I started out on. But I find it harder to relate with the average person. And I kind of wonder, it's like, what is this relationship with competency and like communication? And I see this all the time when I'm with like other math, CS, like people where they're so socially awkward. And it's like, I know I can be socially awkward, but like, wow, some of these people are like, they're on like a different level. Like they're just like so awkward. Like it's like genuine, like such basic things. I'm like, how are you not able to do this? And like, that's partially how I know I don't have autism, because every fucking time I'm at one of these career fairs, the people are like, oh my God, you're so social and like outgoing. Like the career advisors and like the actual career people are like, they're shocked that somebody can be like this into, I guess, the AI and code space, but also like be a social competent human being. And it's like, I wonder that. I'm like, why? Like, I get it in theory, but it's like, why are like people that are good at coding and math, like why are they so awkward, bro? And it's like, I'm an awkward person too, but like there's levels to this shit, bro. Like there's like genuinely, it's like this. Like I always say this, like my friends are like, oh, you're so autistic. You're definitely autistic. But the people who claim it, I'm like, oh, you haven't interacted with real autism. You haven't met like oh, I'll fucking give you an example. On Monday, so I was writing like an exam. I'm doing a summer course also. I was writing my exam. And right after, like I was in the bathroom, I was washing my hands. There was this guy who was also in the exam room. He was washing his hands after. And I was like, oh, hey, how did you find the exam? And he was like, good. And then he just walked away. And I was like bro didn't ask it back. He didn't even be like, oh, like, this is what I thought. Like, I was like, bro, like, speak, bro. Like, say something. And I'm like, genuinely, I was flabbergasted. Yeah, I don't know. Like my friend, my best friend kind of said this thing where he's an actual grad student in psychology, and he's like, the reason you can't be autistic is you're too extroverted. Like really high functioning autistic people tend to be introverts because for them like being social is like so difficult. And I don't know. I kind of think about this a lot. Like why is it that like people in STEM are like so just like weird, bro? Like what is it like? Why like it's like okay, like I feel like business students are like the most social, and like they're pretty good at communicating, and like humanities students they're also good. Social science like okay, but it's like the more you introduce math, suddenly like the harder it gets for people to like just communicate and have conversations. And again, I think I don't know. Like it's like I wonder like had I done business in university instead of math, like what would be different? How much more social would I be? Would the autism like the autism allegations are always going to be there. I think that's just indicative of my personality. But yeah, I don't fucking know, man. Also, I started talking to this girl today. Actually, it wasn't today. That's a lie. I'm not. I said today, but like the truth is, I want to leave it ambiguous because I don't want her to know who she is. Kind of like her. She's pretty. I wonder if she's listening this far. Hi, if you're listening this far. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why I'm even talking or mentioning this. I, I don't know. Like, okay, I kind of think of this idea of who is my perfect partner. What qualities and characteristics do they have? And right now I feel like a doctor would be ideal because like I'm such a hypochondriac that like having someone be like, no, Arnav, you're just sick, you don't have cancer, that would be like amazing. But also I don't know, I kind of wonder like would I be more happy with like a girl who's also like in the AI coding space, or do I want someone who's like artsy and doesn't like care about any of this? And yeah, I don't know. I wonder what my perfect partner is. I feel like I'm gonna get what my idea of it is today, and I'm just gonna be like sad and disappointed because it's not gonna live up to my expectations. Oh fuck! I just dropped my earplugs that I use for concerts. Honestly, I want to go to bed pretty soon. So yeah, this was episode 1 of Tism Talks. This was good. This was like therapeutic. Yeah, if you're listening this far, like why? But yeah, I'm gonna try and upload it. We're gonna have more guests tomorrow. I'm like interviewing this person who has like I think like a couple million on Spotify, and I'm also gonna try and get this woman I know who like does like roids. I met in an Uber, this like space astronaut guy, and I don't even know, like these are like the people who are like, yeah, I'm down to be on your podcast. But let's see how it fucking goes. And yeah, hopefully I don't get canceled off of this.